Hi guys, my name is Teresa. Welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a foundation review. So right now, I just have my eyes and lips done and my brows. I have no base on because I want to show you how it applies. So I have been trying this foundation out for about a week. Like, I didn't want to give you just a first impression. I actually wanted to let you know how it wears and how it wears with different powders and different techniques, brush, sponge. So the foundation is the COVERGIRL Olay Advanced Radiance. It's age-defying makeup with 10 SPF in it. And the shade I have is 120 Creamy Natural. The shade range in this foundation is terrible. I didn't realize it was so bad until just now when I looked up on CoverGirl's website, because I wanted to see what undertone Creamy Natural is best for. Didn't really give me an answer, but the shade range is ridiculous, honestly. But I did buy this foundation at Rite Aid. It came in this type of packaging, and I didn't bring my receipt with me. I will list the price in the description box, but I believe I paid too much for it because the prices at my Rite Aid were really expensive. I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's a smaller Rite Aid. I don't know. And I'm also going to be reviewing the CoverGirl Clean Professional Loose Powder in 105 Translucent Fair. And this says it's good for normal skin. And this powder was around, I want to say it was around like $11, $12. I know I did get a deal. It was buy one, get one 50% off. So this is a loose translucent powder. And you have one of these like puffs, which I actually enjoy these puffs. They remind me of like my teenage years. I don't know, I like it. But they do get messy because there's nothing like protecting any powder for coming out, and you just leave this in there. So it is gonna get messy. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put this foundation all over my face. One half with a sponge and one half with a brush. And I'm gonna set down my face, half my face with the powder, and then with my Believe Beauty powder that I really enjoy. And as I do it, I'll give you my opinions. So we're gonna start on the right hand side with a beauty blender. So this foundation has a very strong scent. It's like you smell the sunscreen, but also almost like a perfume. And it is quite strong. So if you're sensitive to scents, you probably wouldn't like this. And I do find that I like this foundation applied best with a sponge. And I feel like I have to be careful not to apply too much of this foundation because it is a thick consistency. And I feel like if I put too much on, my skin looks very makeup like you can see the makeup. And I don't like that. I like to look like natural, kind of. I know obviously people can tell that I'm wearing makeup, but I don't want that to be the focus of my skin, if you know what I mean. So I heard about this foundation from Jam Beauty 89, Jessica Braun, here on YouTube, and it's like one of her favorites, so it intrigued me to try it out. And I do think this foundation is pretty, as long as you don't go heavy with it and you moisturize underneath. It is actually a moisturizing foundation. It has a lot of skincare benefits, and it's for mature skin. That's who they market it to. But I find that if like I said, if I go too heavy on it, it just looks too much like makeup. And I wouldn't say this foundation is completely full coverage. I would say it's more of a medium. Like if you could compare, I still have some acne, you could see. And this is with and without. And I'm just gonna go a little under my eyes because I forgot to bring concealer with me. And I don't want to use a concealer because I want you guys to see what it looks like. And I feel like sometimes concealers change things. I don't know. So I'm just gonna go over my under eye. Okay, so that's the side with the sponge. And now I'm gonna go in this side with the brush. And I go in with a little less than a full pump. And they do say brushes, like if you want more coverage, use a brush. And one thing I noticed about this foundation, like I wore it to work, I don't know, I think wearing it to work is a really good test to see how it does. And I work in a dish room, it's humid, like the water's going, I'm in a kitchen, you know, I'm running around. So I think it's a good test to see how a product would wear. And I mean, it wore pretty good. The only thing I could say though is this foundation is not transfer proof. Like I touch my nose a lot. I don't know if it's a nervous habit. I don't know, like sometimes I'll go like this to my neck, or I constantly touch my like faces, like I don't know, it's like a nervous tick or something. And I looked in the mirror at 8:30. I get to work at 6, so it's only been like 2.5 hours. And the foundation is completely gone from this side of my nose. So it looked funny because you could, I don't know, you could see the difference. So I tried to like blend it out a little. And I know that a lot of foundations don't last well on people's nose, but it was like very noticeable that it was gone. Like it didn't wear gracefully. But that was also when I used it with this powder. Okay, so here's both sides. I feel like I got a little better coverage with the brush because you can still see some redness. And I definitely feel like it gives you like a radiant glow. I wouldn't say it was like overly dewy. It's definitely not matte. It just looks like, it kind of feels like if you mix a moisturizer in with a foundation. That's what it feels like. Okay, so now I'm going to set on the right side with this powder. So this powder is heavily scented as well. And it definitely has a shade to it. It's not, it says translucent fair, but definitely has a shade. And I feel like it adds coverage. Definitely adds a lot of coverage. And I feel like it's very mattifying. Even though it's claimed for normal skin, not oily skin, I feel like, because I kind of try to avoid the powders that are for oily skin because I don't want something to like suck all the moisture out of my face. I'm going to go in with this puff because I don't want to use, or you know what? I'm going to go in with the sponge. I'm sorry. I feel like with this powder, you have to be really careful not to go heavy if you have normal to dry skin, because this powder will dry out your skin. So like I said, I've been trying out this foundation, and I asked somebody I work with, like, what does my face look like? I asked this teenage boy, he's 17 years old. If you're watching this, Jonathan, hi Jonathan. But I asked him, like, how does my face look? And I think I kind of made him feel, you know how when you ask somebody and you don't want to say, oh, you look horrible, you know, you want to say, oh, you look fine, you look great. And I'm like, no. And I explained to him what I'm doing, and I said, I really need your honest opinion. He said, my face looked fine, but it did look kind of dry. And it did feel dry. If my skin felt really tight. And I used this powder today with a different foundation. I used it with my Revlon Candid foundation, which I usually really enjoy. And my skin felt very dry. So here it is, and I did use it with the sponge to add a little more moisture to it. Okay, now I'm gonna go in to my left side of my face with the Believe Beauty powder. This is $5 at Dollar General. I just love this powder. I think it's so soft. You could already feel the difference in texture. It's more finely milled. This one's like heavier and thicker just by picking it up. I don't know if you could tell, but it's just so much thicker. And the Dollar General one just kind of does, I don't know if you could tell. That's a good test. And I'm going to go in with a little powder brush and just set all over my face. Okay, so here is my face. I don't know if you could tell a difference or not. I don't have great quality camera, so I will try to explain it to you. Like this side with the Believe Beauty powder just feels so much softer and smoother. And this side it feels heavy and it feels dry. So my final thought on this 2-in-1 review is I do enjoy this. I think it's nice. I do think the claims are right. It's Advanced Radiance. It's definitely a radiant foundation. I feel like it doesn't settle into my lines that much. I don't know, I think it looks nice. And it's about, I would say, medium coverage. I feel like if you try to build it up too much, then it's going to look too thick, too cakey. Because I don't know if I showed you, like the consistency is very thick. Like you hold it upside down, nothing drips. So, I don't know. The powder, I'm not a huge fan of. It's too thick, too heavy for my taste, and it makes me feel dry. So if, like, I try to use up my products, I try not to let it go to waste if I spent my money on it. So what I'm going to try to do to get use out of this is mix it in with maybe my Believe powder, like take a little and mix it together. So I'll get the coverage for this, but hopefully the Believe powder will thin it out a little. I don't know. I'll test it out and let you know. And I'm also curious to see how this foundation does mixed in with other foundations, because I like to do that sometimes to get like my perfect shade. But I do think the creamy natural shade suits me well. For the most part, I could have gone down a shade, but I just picked up Creamy Natural because it's the shade I wore when I was a teenager, when I used to wear CoverGirl all the time. Alright guys, if you have tried either one of these products, please feel free to let us all know your thoughts in the comments down below, because we all have different preferences. We all like different things. If you have oily skin, products may work differently for you, or vice versa, you know, like we all have different preferences. So if this is like your ride or die and you love it, let us know. And if you hate it, let us know as well, because like I said, this is just my opinion. All right, guys. I will probably be posting a video on Thanksgiving. That's what I'm shooting for. A little Thanksgiving type special, I guess. I don't know. I have fun with it. Okay, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful week and hopefully see you Thursday. Bye.